The grand chamber of the Galactic Council stretched higher than most buildings on Earth. Thousands of seats filled the circular room, each occupied by a different alien species. Some had wings, others had scales, and a few floated in tanks of liquid. At the center stood a small group of humans, looking tiny compared to the massive aliens around them. Ambassador Ji-Won Lee stood at the speaking platform. Her gray hair was tied back neatly, and she wore the blue uniform of Earth's diplomatic corps. Beside her stood Captain Dae-ho Kim, a military officer with sharp eyes and a calm face. Dr. Hae-rim Park waited nearby, holding a data pad filled with reports and numbers. Ji-Won cleared her throat and began to speak. Honored council members, humanity requests full voting rights. We have been junior members for 50 years now. In that time, we have contributed 40% of your military defense. Our scientists have created 60% of the new technologies you use. Our doctors have saved millions of lives across dozens of species. A loud squawk interrupted her. Counselor Vren, a giant bird-like creature with golden feathers, flapped his wings. The human speaks of contributions as if they matter. You are a young species. You must prove yourselves worthy over centuries, not mere decades. Laughter filled the chamber. The sound came from thousands of throats, beaks, and vocal organs. It echoed off the walls like thunder. Ji-Won's face remained calm. We have proven ourselves. Our colonies pay 3 times the taxes that other species pay. Yet we receive the least representation. This is not fair treatment. Counselor Molthar, who lived in a large water tank, made a bubbling sound that the translators converted to speech. Fair? You are fortunate we allow you to sit in this chamber at all. Your species only discovered faster than light travel because you found our old probe. Without us, you would still be trapped on your single world. More laughter. Counselor Sci-Fex, an insect-like being with multiple legs, clicked her mandibles. The apes want respect. How amusing. They live such short lives. Most of them die before they reach even 100 years. How can such brief creatures understand the long view of galactic politics? Dae-ho Kim's jaw tightened, but he said nothing. He had been a soldier for 30 years. He knew when to fight and when to stay quiet. This was not the time for anger. Ji-Won tried again. We ask only for equal treatment. We ask for the same voting rights as other full members. We ask for fair taxation. We ask for respect. Vren spread his enormous wings. Respect is earned over time. You have not earned it yet. Perhaps in another 100 years, we will discuss this again. The council members nodded and made sounds of agreement. Some were already looking away, bored with the conversation. Then Vren announced something new. The council has decided to reallocate 3 star systems. These systems were discovered by human explorers, but we have determined that other species can use them more efficiently. The Vexor system will go to the Aquarians. The Helios system will go to the Draconians. The New Hope system will go to the Cephalons. Silence fell over the human delegation. Those 3 systems had been found by human ships. Human colonists had already begun building settlements there. Families lived on those worlds. Children had been born there. Dr. Hae-rim Park stepped forward. Those systems have human colonies. Thousands of people live there. You cannot simply give them away. Sifex made a clicking laugh. We can do as we please. The colonies will be compensated fairly. The humans living there may stay under the rule of the new species, or they may leave. The decision has been made. Ji-Won looked around the chamber. She saw the faces of the council members. Some looked amused. Others looked bored. A few looked satisfied, as if they had just won something valuable. None of them looked concerned about the humans. She had spent 50 years of her life working with the council. She had negotiated treaties and solved disputes. She had helped bring peace to warring species. She had always believed that hard work and good intentions would lead to respect. Now she understood the truth. The council did not see humans as partners. They saw them as useful tools. When humans asked for respect, the council laughed. When humans asked for fairness, the council took more from them. Ji-won took a deep breath. She looked at Dae-ho and Hae-rim. Both of them looked back at her with understanding in their eyes. They had all seen the same thing. She turned back to the council. Her voice was quiet but clear. I see. Thank you for clarifying your position, Councillor Vren. Thank you all for making your feelings so clear. Humanity understands now. Vren tilted his head, confused by her calm tone. We understand our place in this council, Ji-won said. She did not sound angry or sad. She sounded like someone who had just learned an important lesson. We will not take any more of your valuable time. She bowed slightly, then turned and walked toward the exit. Dae-ho and Hae-rim followed her. Their footsteps echoed in the suddenly quiet chamber. The council members watched them go, uncertain why the humans were leaving so calmly. Outside the chamber, Ji-won walked to a private communication room. She activated the quantum link to Earth. The face of President Tae-yong-shin appeared on the screen. How did it go? The president asked. Ji-won's calm mask finally cracked. Tears filled her eyes, but her voice remained steady. They laughed at us. They took 3 of our colonies. They made it clear we will never be their equals. President Shin nodded slowly. Then you know what we must do. Yes, sir. I recommend Protocol Omega. Are you certain? I am certain. We tried, Mr. President. For 50 years we tried. We gave them everything. They gave us nothing but contempt. It is time to go home. President Shin was quiet for a moment. Then he said, Begin the withdrawal. Bring our people home. All of them. Ji-won nodded. It will be done. The screen went dark. Ji-won stood in the quiet room for a long moment. Then she squared her shoulders and went to start the biggest evacuation in human history. Humanity was leaving the Galactic Council, not with threats or war or angry speeches. They were simply walking away. The Council had taught them that they were not wanted. Humanity had finally learned the lesson. 6 months had passed since the meeting in the Council chambers. Across the galaxy, humans were moving. Not running, not fleeing, just leaving. Quietly and efficiently, like they did everything else. Dr. Subin Yang stood in her laboratory on Council Medical Station 7. She had worked here for 12 years. The lab was filled with equipment that she had built herself. On the screens around her, data scrolled past. Data about the viral plague that was killing 3 different alien species. She and her team had been working on a cure for 5 years. They were so close. Maybe 2 more months of work. Her assistant, a young human woman named Mi Young, was packing boxes. Dr. Yang, the transport ship leaves in 3 hours. We need to hurry. Subin looked at the data one more time. Then she began erasing it. Not just deleting it. She used military-grade erasure programs that made sure no one could ever recover the information. Every test result, every failed experiment, every successful breakthrough, all of it disappeared. Doctor, what are you doing? Mi Young asked, her eyes wide. Taking what belongs to us, Subin said quietly. This research was funded by Earth, built by human scientists. The Council never paid us fairly for any of it. They do not get to keep it. Subin said quiet. We can stetten on the mander vi. We can downs. We can stetten selavi. We can stetten selavi. We can stetten seddens. We can stetten seddens. Mi Young understood. She began helping erase the data. When they were done, they dismantled the equipment and packed what they could carry. The rest, they destroyed. When they left the lab, it was empty. Just bare walls and unplugged cables. On the industrial world of Kovacs Prime, engineer Wu Jinhan was doing similar work. He stood before the massive fusion reactor that powered the entire planet. He had built this reactor 7 years ago. Before he arrived, the planet had used old chemical power plants that polluted the air and barely produced enough energy. His reactor was clean and powerful. It had transformed the planet. Now he was taking it apart. "Are you sure about this?" asked his team leader, a man named Jae Sung. "I am sure," Woo Jin replied. "We built it. It is our design. They never paid us the full amount they promised. They called it deferred compensation and said they would pay us later. They never did. It took 3 days to safely shut down the reactor. When they were finished, the planet went back to its old power system. The lights grew dimmer. The factories slowed down. The aliens who lived there complained about the inconvenience, but they assumed the humans would fix it soon. They did not understand that the humans were not coming back. Woo Jin and his team boarded a transport ship and left. Behind them, 12 other worlds lost their human-built reactors the same way. In orbit around Council Station Omega, Admiral Sang-won Choi commanded the human defense fleet, 23 ships, from small fighters to large battle cruisers. These ships had protected Council space for decades. They had fought pirates, raiders, and hostile aliens. They had saved countless lives. Now they were leaving. "All ships report ready for departure," said his first officer, a woman named Young Mi. Sang-won looked at the station through the viewport. He had friends there, good people from other species, but orders were orders. Set course for Earth, maximum speed. The fleet turned as one and jumped to faster than light speed. The Council's defense forces suddenly found themselves short 23 ships. No one had told them the humans were leaving. The humans had not asked permission. They had just gone. On trading stations across Council space, human merchants were closing their shops. Pak Jin-ho had run a medical supply business for 18 years. He sold advanced human medicines to alien doctors. His products saved lives every day. Now he was selling everything at discount prices and preparing to leave. An alien customer, a reptilian named Threx, was confused. "Why are you closing? Your business is successful." Jin-ho smiled politely. "I am going home." "But why?" "Nothing is wrong. I am simply going home." He did not explain. There was nothing to explain. Across the galaxy, thousands of human merchants were doing the same thing. Within 2 months, advanced medical equipment became impossible to find. Food preservation technology that humans had invented was no longer available. Entertainment systems that humans had designed stopped working because no one knew how to repair them. The quantum communication network was the biggest loss. Humans had built relay stations across Council space, allowing instant communication between distant worlds. The network had cost trillions of credits and taken 20 years to build. Now human technicians were shutting down the relays one by one. On relay station 447, technician Bo Ra-im was the last human employee. She had stayed longer than the others because she had friends here. An alien child named Pix, who looked like a small blue bear, visited her every day. "Are you leaving too?" Pix asked, her voice sad. Bo Ra knelt down to look at the child. "I have to go, Pix. But why is everyone leaving?" Did we do something wrong? Bo Ra felt her heart break a little. This child had done nothing wrong, but she could not explain council politics to a child. "You did nothing wrong, sweetie. Sometimes grown-ups make decisions that affect everyone. We have to go home now. Will you come back?" Bo Ra hugged the child. "I do not know. I hope we will meet again someday." When she left, Pix cried. So did Bo Ra. Though she waited until she was alone on the transport ship, the council barely noticed at first. A few members mentioned that humans seemed to be leaving, but no one worried. Councillor Vren even made a joke. "Perhaps they are finally learning their place. Good riddance to the demanding apes." But in the offices of Councillor Thelios, the Treasury Minister, someone was paying attention. His assistant brought him a report about economic activity. The numbers were concerning. "Trade revenues are down 30%, the assistant said. "Why?" Thelios asked. "Human merchants have closed their businesses. Human goods are no longer available. They will come back. They need our markets. Sir, according to this data, we need their goods more than they need our markets." 70% of advanced medical supplies came from human companies. 60% of the entertainment industry was human-owned. And the defense contracts, what about them? 23 human military vessels have left Council space. No replacements have been assigned. We are short 23 ships. Thelios felt a cold sensation in his stomach. Have we tried to contact the humans? Well, yes, sir. Ambassador G1 Lee sent a response. It says, humanity declines further participation in council affairs. We wish you well. That is all? That is all. Thelios looked at the numbers again. For the first time, he felt worried. But he pushed the feeling away. Humans were a young species. They would come back. They had to come back. Where else would they go? He did not understand yet. Humans did not need the council. They had tried to be partners, but the council had refused. So now humans were going to build their own future. Without the council, without the species that had laughed at them. In the quiet of space, human transport ships carried millions of people home. They did not broadcast their reasons. They did not send angry messages. They simply left. The galaxy was about to learn what happened when you pushed away the people who held everything together. 8 months after the humans left, the galaxy began to fall apart. The first sign was the plague. It had started small. Just a virus that made people sick for a few days. But without human doctors to study it, the virus mutated. It spread across 3 species. The Aquarians, the Felixians, and the Korthon. Dr. Subin Yang and her team had been so close to finding a cure. Now those doctors were gone. And so was their research. In the hospitals of Aquarian Prime, people were dying. The doctors tried everything they knew, but nothing worked. One doctor, exhausted and desperate, sent a message to Earth. Please help us. We know you are working on a cure. Our people are dying. Please send the research. We will pay whatever you ask. The reply came 3 days later. It was from Dr. Subin Yang herself. I am sorry for your suffering. However, the research you request was funded by Earth and belongs to humanity. The Council voted 5 years ago to seize all human medical research without compensation. We withdrew the research before you could take it. We wish you the best in finding your own cure. That was all. No offer to help, no negotiation, just a simple statement of fact. The doctor stared at the message in disbelief. Thousands of people were dying, and the humans had the cure, but they would not share it. He wanted to be angry, but then he remembered. His own government had voted to take that research without paying. The power problems came next. On Kovacs Prime and 11 other worlds, the old power systems were failing. They had not been properly maintained because everyone had relied on the human fusion reactors. Now those reactors were gone, and no one knew how to build new ones. The government of Kovacs Prime sent engineers to study the empty reactor buildings. Maybe they could figure out how the reactors worked, but when the engineers arrived, they found nothing useful. The humans had taken all the important parts, all the detailed plans, all the special materials. What remained was just an empty building. Can we build a new one? The government asked. We do not even understand the basic principles, the lead engineer admitted. This technology is decades ahead of ours. We would need human help. We would need human help, then get human help, hire human engineers. We tried. No human engineer will accept our offers. They say they are not interested in working for the Council anymore. End quote. The factories on Kovacs Prime began shutting down because of power shortages. Workers lost their jobs. The economy started to collapse. In space, pirates were becoming bold. For decades, human patrol ships had kept the trading routes safe. Raiders knew that if they attacked a merchant ship, human warships would respond within hours. Now there were no human patrols. The pirates realized this quickly. A merchant convoy from the Cephalon worlds was attacked. 15 ships were destroyed. 300 crew members died. The convoy had sent distress calls, begging for help. Those calls went unanswered. The human fleet was no longer in council space. Commander Hyun-sik Kwon heard those distress calls. His ship was at the border of human territory, monitoring the situation. His crew looked at him, waiting for orders. "Sir, should we respond?" his first officer asked. Hyun-sik's face was hard. "We are under orders not to enter council space. The convoy is not our responsibility. But sir, people are dying. People died when the council took 3 of our colonies. People died when they laughed at Ambassador Lee. People died from disrespect every day for 50 years. His voice was cold. We tried to help. We tried to be partners. They made it clear they did not want us. Now they face the consequences of that choice. He turned away from the screen, showing the dying convoy. It hurt to do nothing. But orders were orders. Humanity had learned to protect its own people first. The council held an emergency meeting. The chamber was not as full as before. Some species had stopped sending representatives. They saw no point in attending when nothing ever got done. Councillor Vren called the meeting to order. "We must discuss the human situation." Councillor Molthar's voice bubbled from his tank. "What situation?" "The humans left. Let them go. We do not need them, do we not?" Councillor Thelios stood up. He looked tired. "I have reviewed the economic data. In the past 8 months, our economy has shrunk by 43%. 43%. Trade is collapsing. Technology sectors are failing. Medical systems are overwhelmed. Temporary problems," Vren said dismissively. "We will adapt." Adapt to what? Thelios was angry now. Adapt to the fact that humans contributed 67% of our gross domestic product? Adapt to the fact that they provided most of our military defense? Adapt to losing the quantum communication network? We do not need human technology. Sci-Fex clicked. "We have our own. We have our own. We have our own. Do we?" Thelios pulled up data on the screens. "Look at these numbers. Human innovations. Faster than light drives, quantum communications, fusion power, medical cures, agricultural technology, entertainment systems, artificial intelligence, defensive shields. What have we contributed? What have any of you contributed in the last 50 years? Silence fell over the chamber. No one wanted to answer that question. Thelios continued. "We took and took and took. We gave nothing back except disrespect and higher taxes. Now they are gone, and we are discovering how much we needed them. They had a duty to help," Vren insisted. "They were part of the council. They asked to be treated fairly. We laughed at them. They asked for equal voting rights. We denied them. They asked us not to take their colonies. We took them anyway. What duty did we show them?" A young counselor from the Phylixian species stood. "My people are dying from the plague. Do the humans have a cure?" Thelios nodded slowly. "According to our intelligence, yes. Dr. Subin Yang completed the cure 11 months ago. Then we must get it from them. They will not give it to us. I have tried." President Taeyang Shin sent a response. He said the research belongs to Earth. He reminded me that we voted to seize their research without payment. He said we may purchase the cure at fair market price. The price is... Thelios paused. "It is very high." "Then, how high?" "More than our entire treasury can afford." The Phylixian counselor sat down heavily. His people were dying, and the cure existed, but they could not afford it. This was their own fault. Their own votes had created this situation. Councillor Molthar spoke quietly. "Can we negotiate?" I tried. The humans are not interested in negotiation. They are not interested in rejoining the council. They are not interested in helping us. They made that very clear. But, Raskin started. End quote. "This is unacceptable," Vren shouted. "With what fleet?" Thelios asked. 23 of our best ships were human vessels. They are gone. And even if we had a fleet, do you really think threatening Earth is wise? They left peacefully. If we attack them, they will defend themselves. And from what I have learned, humanity has been building ships. Many ships. More than we realized. The council chamber fell silent again. Everyone was beginning to understand. Humanity had not left because they were weak. They had left because they were strong enough to walk away. They did not need the council. But the council needed them, and it was too late to fix it. 14 months after humanity left, the council was dying. The plague had killed 400 million people. 17 worlds had lost power completely. The Ravagers, a hostile alien force, had conquered system after system. Without human military patrols, nothing stopped them. The Council's own defense forces were spread too thin and were no match for the Ravagers' brutality. Two species had left the Council entirely. The Draconians and the Veliks had declared independence and closed their borders. They blamed the Council for the crisis. Other species were considering leaving too. In the Council chambers, arguments broke out every day. Species blamed each other. Old rivalries surfaced. The unity that had held the Council together for centuries was breaking. Councillor Molthar watched it all from his water tank. He was old, very old. He had been on the Council for 200 years. He had seen empires rise and fall. Now he was watching the Council fall too. One night, unable to sleep, he accessed the historical records. He read every interaction between humans and the Council. Every meeting, every vote, every request. He read for hours. What he found shocked him. Humanity had asked for so little. They wanted fair treatment, equal voting rights, fair taxes, respect for their discoveries. These were not unreasonable demands. Any other species would have been granted these things within a decade. But humans had been denied for 50 years. And what had humans given in return for this poor treatment? Everything. They had defended Council space with their military. They had shared their technology freely. They had cured diseases and solved problems. They had built infrastructure and created wealth. They had done all of this while being mocked and dismissed. Molthar felt something he had not felt in many years. Shame. He called an emergency meeting with the other senior counselors. Vren came, looking older and tired. Thelios came, carrying more bad economic reports. Sifex came, clicking nervously. "We made a mistake," Molthar said simply. Vren's feathers ruffled. "What do you mean?" "With the humans. We made a terrible mistake. I have reviewed the records. We treated them horribly. They asked for respect, and we laughed. They contributed everything, and we gave them nothing. They left because we drove them away. They had a duty to stay," Vren said, but his voice lacked conviction. "What duty? We never treated them as equals. We used them. We exploited them. And when they finally had enough, they left. Not with anger. Not with war. They just left. Peacefully. Quietly. That shows more strength than anything else," Thelios nodded. "I have been thinking the same thing. We need to apologize. We need to ask them to come back." "They will not come back," Sifex said. "I have seen intelligence reports. Human society is thriving. They have formed alliances with independent species. Their economy is growing faster than it ever did under the Council. They are happy without us." "Then we send someone they trust," Molthar said. "We send a human who stayed behind." That was how Envoy Unha Bek received her assignment. She was one of the few humans who had not left Council space. She had stayed because her wife was an alien, a Cephalon named Tess. Unha loved the Council. She had believed in its mission of unity and cooperation. She had been heartbroken when humanity left. Now the Council was asking her to go to Earth. to negotiate, to beg, really, though they did not use that word. Yunha accepted the mission. She said goodbye to Tess and boarded a ship to Earth. The journey took 3 weeks. During that time, she prepared her arguments. She thought about what she would say, how she would convince President Taeyang Shin to help. When she arrived at New Seoul, the capital city of Earth, she was shocked. The city was beautiful. Gleaming towers reached into the sky. Gardens filled the spaces between buildings. Flying cars moved in organized patterns. People walked the streets, smiling and talking. Children played in parks. Everything was clean and efficient and peaceful. She had expected Earth to be struggling. She had thought humans would be suffering without the council. But they were not suffering. They were thriving. A government car took her to the presidential palace. President Shin met her in a simple office. He was an older man with gray hair and kind eyes. He offered her tea. "Thank you for seeing me, Mr. President," Yunha said. "You are welcome, Envoy Baek. Though I know why you are here, and I am afraid I have no good news for you. The council is in crisis. People are dying. The plague. Dr. Subin Yang completed the cure for the plague 11 months ago. We offered to sell it to the council at a fair price. They said the price was too high. Our treasury is empty, Mr. President. We cannot afford it. Then I am sorry. But the research belongs to Earth. We funded it. Our scientists created it. The council voted to seize it without payment. We prevented that. Now they must pay the market price or develop their own cure." Yunha felt desperate. People are dying. Doesn't that matter? President Shin's face was sad. Of course it matters. But let me ask you something. Envoy Baek. Did it matter when the council took our colonies? Did it matter when they tripled our taxes? Did it matter when they denied us equal rights for 50 years? Did it matter when they laughed at Ambassador Lee? Yunha had no answer. The president continued. We tried to be partners. We gave everything. We asked for only respect. The council chose to treat us as servants instead. They made it clear that human lives, human work, human contributions did not matter to them. Now they ask us to care about their lives. Why should we? Because it is the right thing to do, Yunha said quietly. We will do the right thing. We are accepting refugees. Any alien who wants to come to human space will be welcomed. We will treat them as equals. We will give them the respect that the council never gave us. We will trade fairly with any species that approaches us with respect. But we will not help the council. The council made its choice. President Shin stood and walked to a window. Outside, the city of New Seoul sparkled in the sunlight. Would you like to see something? Envoy Baek? He led her to an archive room. On the walls were screens showing historical records. He played a compilation for her. It showed 50 years of council meetings. Every insult. Every dismissal. Every time a human had been mocked or denied or exploited. It went on for hours. We recorded everything, President Shin said. We kept records of every slight, every broken promise, every act of disrespect. We did not do this out of anger. We did it so we would remember, so we would never forget what it feels like to be treated as less than equal. Yunha watched the screens with tears in her eyes. She had seen some of this before, but seeing it all together was overwhelming. The council had been cruel, not with violence, but with contempt, and humanity had endured it for 50 years. I am sorry, she whispered. I know you are. You are a good person, Envoy Baek. But your apology does not change the past. The council must face the consequences of its choices. Yunha returned to council space with President Shin's message. It was simple and final. Humanity wishes the council well. We will not interfere in your affairs. And we expect the same courtesy. When she delivered the message, Councillor Vren became angry. They dare refuse us? This is unacceptable. But Counselor Molthar just nodded slowly. "It is exactly what we deserve," he said. "We broke something that cannot be fixed. We must live with that now." The Council had learned an important lesson. But they had learned it too late. 3 years had passed since humanity left the Galactic Council. The galaxy looked very different now. The Council was a shadow of what it once was. 8 species had left, unable to bear the economic collapse and constant conflicts. The Council's territory had shrunk by 60%. The Ravagers controlled a quarter of what used to be Council space. Billions of people had died from war, plague, and starvation. The Grand Council chamber, once filled with thousands of representatives, now held only a few hundred. Many seats were empty. The species that remained did so because they had nowhere else to go. Humanity, on the other hand, had entered a golden age. Dr. He Rim Park stood on the observation deck of the research station orbiting New Terra. Below her, the planet was changing. Machines covered its surface, working day and night. In just 2 years, they had transformed a dead rock into a world with breathable air, flowing water, and growing plants. Her team had perfected terraforming technology. What used to take 50 years now took less than 5. "Dr. Park, the atmospheric readings are perfect," her assistant said, excitement in his voice. "We can start bringing colonists next month." Hirim smiled. "Excellent. That makes 7 new worlds in 3 years. Our people will have plenty of room to grow." Human technology had advanced rapidly once they were free from Council restrictions. The Council had always limited what humans could research, claiming some technologies were too dangerous or needed Council approval. Now, without those restrictions, human scientists had made breakthrough after breakthrough. Medical technology had advanced so much that the average human lifespan was now 200 years. Diseases that used to kill people were now easily cured. Human bodies could be enhanced to be stronger, faster, and more resistant to injury. On Earth, Admiral Dae-ho Kim, now promoted to Fleet Admiral, reviewed reports in his office. The human fleet had grown to over 300 ships. New designs, new weapons, new shields. Everything was better than what they had when they served the Council. His assistant, Commander Youngmi, brought him a message. "Sir, there is a ship requesting permission to enter our space. It is a Council diplomatic vessel. Who is on it?" "Councillor Vren. He is alone. He requests a meeting with you." Dae-ho was surprised. Vren had been one of the humans' worst critics. The bird-like alien had mocked humanity for decades. What could he want now? "Allow him to land. I will meet with him." Councillor Vren looked old when he stepped off his ship. His golden feathers were dull, and many were falling out. His eyes, once bright and arrogant, now looked sad and tired. He walked slowly, like every step hurt. Dae-ho met him in a simple meeting room. He did not offer the grand reception that Council members used to expect. Just a plain room with 2 chairs and a table. Vren sat down heavily. "Thank you for seeing me, Fleet Admiral Kim." "What do you want, Counselor?" "I came to apologize." Dae-ho was silent. He had not expected that. Vren continued, his voice shaking. "I was wrong. About everything. About your species. About your value. About your contributions. I spent 200 years on the Council, and I became arrogant. I forgot what it means to treat others with respect. I forgot that strength comes in many forms. Why are you telling me this?" "Because I am dying. The plague. It finally reached my species last month. We have no cure. Our doctors cannot figure it out. I have maybe 3 weeks left." Vren looked at Dae-ho with desperate eyes. "I am not here to beg for the cure. I know we do not deserve it. I came to apologize before I die. I wanted at least one human to hear me say, 'I am sorry. We were wrong. You deserved better.'" Dae-ho studied the old alien. He remembered all the insults, all the mockery, all the times Vren had dismissed human concerns. He could still hear the laughter in the council chamber when they took the human colonies. But he also saw a broken old man who had finally learned his lesson. The council is collapsing, Vren said. We will be gone within 5 years. The Ravagers are winning. Our economy is dead. Our people are scattered. We destroyed ourselves through our own arrogance. What do you want me to say, counselor? Nothing. I expect nothing. I just wanted you to know that some of us finally understand what we did, what we lost. Vren stood up slowly. Humanity did not need us. We needed you. We just could not see it until you were gone. After Vren left, Deho sat alone for a long time. He felt no satisfaction in the council's fall. No joy in their suffering. Just a deep sadness that it had come to this. He called President Taeyang Shin. Sir, Vren just visited me. I heard. What did he want? To apologize. He is dying from the plague. The president was quiet for a moment. What do you think we should do? That is not my decision to make, sir. I am asking for your opinion, Admiral. You were there from the beginning. You stood next to Ambassador Lee. When they laughed at us, Deho thought carefully. I think we should offer limited aid. Not to the council itself, but to the refugees, to the people who had no say in their government's decisions. We should be better than the council was. President Shin nodded. I agree. Draft a proposal. We will accept refugees. We will sell medical supplies at reduced prices to civilian hospitals. We will allow species to join our new alliance if they agree to our terms: equality, respect, and fair contribution. Over the next 2 years, millions of aliens immigrated to human space. They came seeking safety, opportunity, and hope. Humanity welcomed them, but on human terms. Everyone was treated equally. Everyone had the same rights. Everyone contributed fairly. The old Galactic Council held its final meeting 5 years after humanity left. Only 4 species remained. Councillor Molthar, still alive despite his great age, gave the closing speech. We built something beautiful once, he said, his voice bubbling from his tank. A council of species working together. But we forgot the most important rule: respect. We treated the humans as servants when they should have been partners. We mocked them when we should have listened. We took from them when we should have given. Now, we pay the price for our arrogance. He paused. Let this be a lesson to future generations. Strength is not just military power or advanced technology. Strength is treating others with dignity. Strength is admitting when you are wrong. Strength is walking away from those who do not value you. Humanity showed us true strength, and we were too blind to see it. 1. The council dissolved that day. In its place, something new emerged: the Alliance of Free Worlds, founded on principles that humanity had always championed: equality, respect, fair treatment, cooperation. Humans did not lead the alliance. They were partners with dozens of species, all with equal voices. This was what they had always wanted, what they had asked the Council for 50 years ago. On Earth, in the center of New Sol, a memorial was built. It was a simple stone with words carved into it. In 2287, humanity learned that silence is not weakness. Sometimes, the most powerful thing you can say is nothing at all. Sometimes, the most powerful thing you can do is leave. We walked away not because we were weak, but because we were strong enough to know our worth. May we never forget this lesson. Ambassador Ji-won Lee, now very old at 175 years, stood before this memorial with a group of young human diplomats. They were about to meet with a newly discovered alien species. First contact, a chance to start fresh. Remember, she told them, her voice still strong. Treat them with respect. Expect respect in return. Never accept less than you deserve. And if they cannot give you that respect, you have the strength to walk away. The young diplomats nodded. They had studied the history of the silent exit. They knew the lessons well. "Will they be like the council?" one young woman asked. Ji-won smiled. "I do not know. But we will find out. And whatever happens, we will face it with dignity and strength. That is the human way." She watched them leave, heading to the spaceport where their ship waited. Then, she turned back to the memorial. She touched the stone gently. "We did it," she whispered. "We proved our worth. Not to them. To ourselves." Above her, ships moved through the sky. Human ships, alien ships, all living in peace. The galaxy was different now. Better. Perhaps. All because humanity had learned when to stay and when to leave. The silent exit had taught the galaxy a lesson it would never forget.